Alright, this video is going to show you how to wire up everything for the RetroPie. And I am doing voiceovers for some of these sections just because the fume extractor I built turns out to be quite loud. And so the fan there kind of ruined the audio for some sections of the video where it was turned on. So here we are. At the top there we got our micro USB breakout board. That'll be one of the power options for this RetroPie. And then bottom there we got the audio amplifier. That is a mono audio amplifier, so I'll get into how we do that later on. But from there, we're just taking the output, which should be your A plus and A minus, and soldering that directly to the speaker. Get more into that later on. That is the power boost board right now, and all I'm doing is I'm taking the power pin for the output, and that's going to be cycling through that switch at the top there. So that'll be your on and off control for the battery. This is the audio jack right here. So those 5 pins you can see, the far left and far right are your left and right channels, and then the middle one is your ground, which is that blue wire. Amplifier again, pretty straightforward, bringing in your power, your ground, and then your mono signal, which has to be plus and minus. Alright, those are some buttons right there, just getting those put in. And it's pretty much the same thing for this part. That's your escape button right there. What's next is the audio switch. And so we're going to be bringing in to the center pin there. That'll be your input from the audio jack. So your left and right channels. And then this is a 3-position switch. And so when it's in the center, that's your mute option. And then if it's pushing left or right, that's either going to your speakers or to your external audio jack. So you can see right there, starting on those left and right channels from the switch to the external audio jack. And since we're pulling audio from an audio jack actually on the LCD, it's more acting as an extender than anything else. This portion here is using those resistors there to effectively turn that stereo signal into a mono signal that we can push to our audio amplifier. And then you see there I'm using some heat shrink tubing just to prevent any accidental shorts that I don't want before the wires connect. So if you can kind of see here, combining those wires, it's kind of hard to see right above the blue resistors. I'm getting some solder on there as well, and then going to be pulling with that red wire out from the center between those two, and that'll be our positive audio signal, mono signal, to the audio board. And then the ground there is just some random ground. Doesn't matter where it's coming from. Now we got the board and LCD in, and then you see the audio jack there at the top. So we're pulling those left and right channels from it. And you'll have to make sure to force audio through HDMI from the recipe config settings, but that's the software side of things. Hardware just pulling those left and right channels. And then you see that the longer red and black wires connected to the amplifier, that's just connected to your 5-volt pin on the Pi board, and then the black wire to a ground. And then you also kind of see the audio jack. Remember that blue pin I talked about? That was just a ground, and we're pulling that from the Pi board as well. Also, unless I'm going insane, this video is strangely wavy. Not sure what's happening there. Anyway, so the top there you see we're pulling, or that those power pins are connected. They're soldered on directly to where the micro USB port is on the Pi board. And so that'll just be if you plug in a power source directly, right? That's just how you can. That's one way you can power this console.
All right, at this point, before you start connecting up all the game pads and all these other wires, because they'll get in the way pretty fast, make sure your audio is working. And so I'll throw on the command that I'm using to test the audio, but it's an inbuilt tool with the RetroPie system. All right, so right now it's on mute, so you shouldn't hear anything. Yep. Okay, so if we push this out to, and this will be screwed in, by the way. It's not going to be, it'll be more stuck in like that. But yeah, so we push it out this way.
Left, front, right, left, front, right, front.
Yeah, that gets old pretty fast. But that was our speaker right there, and the signal quality is pretty good. So I'm not going to mess around with the resistors or anything like that. Okay, so that's on mute. We can try the again, this is plugged into these guys over here. Let's go ahead and give it a shot. If you're wearing them, it's a lot louder. And I did check that it is going to the right pathway. So left is going to left, right is going to right. That's getting old again. And then before we move on to the buttons, I would check the power as well. So right now you can see currently I've only got power coming in through this micro USB breakout board. So yeah, it's plugged in, positive, negative. It's being routed. That's soldered on directly to the Pi board right there. The battery option is going to be through this thing right here, and then you've got this. I forget what we call it. It's like a power boost board. And so this thing, the battery plugs in right there. You can charge a battery from this port up here, and then you get power and ground right here and here. Power is just being routed through the switch one time, so you've got an on and off functionality. I know this thing is kind of overkill, but the smaller ones, those are more expensive, and I bought these in like a pack of 10, so I'm trying to use them. But yeah, this will be like an on and off for the power, and then ground will go straight to, well, actually here, so you can see that. So that's just going to plug straight into the actual Pi board. And then again, ground going straight there, power first going through that switch right there. All hooked up. Whenever I turn this on, you should see the activity light of the Pi light up. So again, battery plugged in here, power is being routed through the switch one time, ground going straight to the board, and look for the light right there, and it's on. So you need to find a good way to store this on the back somewhere, but yep.
All right, all that's left is getting those ABXY up, down, left, and right buttons set in place. Then using those backings with those button pads. And then they'll screw in, as you can see, and then it's just kind of like a bouncing act to try and get them so it's not tilted too far left or right. You've got an even press. And the rest of this is really just wiring, kind of tedious, but make sure you're doing the right pins. As far as the final pinouts, don't go off this video, go off the circuit diagram, which I'll put up here right now. That'll show you how everything should connect in the end.